All right, I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Board of Education for Monday, June 27th to order. If we could please all stand and recite the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, good evening and welcome everybody. If I could have a roll call, please.
Stephen Arthur.
Here.
Tim Batson.
Here.
Alex Delifelli.
Here.
Pat Purdy.
Here.
Anna Lundstedt. Here. Owen Mauer. Here. Bill Ratzler.
Here. Okay, thank you. We have a relatively brief agenda. President's report will be very brief. We do have one of our school board representatives here, one of our new representatives, so welcome, Christian. Superintendent's report, an invitation for public comment. If there's anybody who would like to speak, we'll review the consent vote agenda and then updates from the Program and Personnel Committee as well as the Facilities and Finance Committee. There really are no updates from the Property Committee. We did not meet this month. Special Education District of Lake County. Nothing new from the Illinois Association of School Boards. We will be convening to an executive session this evening. But I do not anticipate we'll be taking any action after that session. Okay. Any questions before we start? All right. President's report. The only thing I'd like to do is really just kind of acknowledge both of our building principals as well as everybody on the staff for just a great end of the school year. Both graduation ceremonies I thought were outstanding. I know the end of the year is an extremely busy time. Both look refreshed. So this is your very brief little hiatus before all the excitement begins for next year. But just thanks for all your hard work. I think it was great for the kids. I've heard a lot of talk about it in the communities. And it was just very well done by everybody. And thanks to all the board members for showing up as well at the two graduation ceremonies. Student School Board Representative Christian Vader.
Yes.
Welcome. Christian's from Libertyville High School.
Yes, I wasn't here last time, so hello everybody, nice to see you. And I'd like to second that, certainly, because I was at the graduation ceremonies, at least for the Libertyville, and it was definitely a good time. I went for my sister, she graduated a couple years ago, and I have a lot of friends this year, and they've done very well, so thank you for that. And as far as I heard the last little segment of the budget talks, and with the dugout, I know it kind of got a little heated there for a second, but I agree with it, just because as far as, like you were saying, going with compo with the boys and like what other schools have, and I rode past it on my bike today and I kind of looked at it because obviously all the softball things have been going on there, and it's definitely, it needs some improvement, so I would definitely agree with that. I know the budget's obviously, it's quite a bit of money, but I think that it really deserves it. And then one thing I was thinking, a lot of classrooms I have with the smart board, I'm not sure about the budget as far as that goes, but as for me, I've had classes with and without it, and I actually took a visit out to Stanford this past spring break, and even some of their classes had smart boards, so obviously it's the new fad, I guess it is, in schools, but they didn't even have them turned on, they weren't using them, the class wasn't affected by them at all, and I was just wondering, as far as the budget for that, as far as that goes, I don't know if it's that imperative for the schools to have, but I'm not sure what the thoughts are on that, so just a few comments.
Good. Thanks. Well, welcome, Christian. And I'll say one of the things that I've noticed, we've talked about it, a lot of the technology enhancements that we have put in place, when you come to the open house in the beginning of the year, you really, I think, get to see how important those things are. And especially from the standpoint of engaging the kids and learning and doing things. I know once somebody reminded me that I only had chalk when I was in school. That was true. But I also didn't have to manage, and I'm sure we didn't have to manage the same volume of information that the kids get today. So I think it's great that we do invest in a lot of those learning aids to help our educational environment. Superintendent's report, Dr. Lee.
Thank you, Pat. As always, some good news to share, even in the summer in 128, so always a pleasure to share the good news in the district. Congratulations to the District 128 Special Olympians who recently competed in the State Summer Games in Bloomington. The team, coached by Andy Compton, who visited us in May, brought home 4 gold and 2 silver medals in swimming, track, and bocce ball. So congratulations to them. I think this They just get better every year, so just incredible. Libertyville High School 2011 graduate Teddy Kelly has been named a finalist in the 2011 AAU High School Sullivan Award. This award honors high school athletes in a particular sport who show outstanding athletic abilities, leadership skills, great sportsmanship, strength of character, and are well-rounded individuals, not only during sporting events, but in their community as well. The AAU High School Sullivan Award will be presented to one female athlete and one male athlete, and Teddy was only one of 6 male athletes nominated nationally. Dr. Scott did an excellent job, I am told, by the Kelly family in terms of weaving in many themes and comments from many folks who have worked with Teddy over the years. So Marina, thanks for your work with that. For some of you that follow amateur athletics, the Sullivan Award, this is modeled on the Sullivan Award for older amateur athletes, and it's a pretty impressive list of people who won that award over the years, so it's really very exciting for Teddy and his family. So,
We'll be advertising if you need to go on the website to
yes.
for the top 6.
In the next 2 or 3 weeks, the family will be notified that that will actually be a piece in Parade Magazine in the weekend edition, and then it's a voting competition now. So Mary and I have already talked, and we're going to figure out how to get the information out to everybody in the D128 community so they can vote for Teddy. I'm guessing in the Chicago way, early and often. I don't know if you can vote more than once, so don't hold me accountable for that, but it's very, very exciting, big news for Teddy, so congratulations. Vernon Hills High School boys bowling team member Eric Swanson was one of 10 high school bowlers named to the 2010-2011 Dexter United States Bowling Congress High School All-American team. Eric is one of 2 sophomores on this year's Dexter's team. Selection to the Dexter team is based on the student athletes' bowling accomplishments from the 2010-11 school year, academic achievement, the minimum 3.0 GPA, letters of recommendation, extracurricular activities, community involvement, and submitted essays and resumes. Eric helped VHHS place 2nd at the IHSA state tournament and earned first team all-conference honors. He is also a member of the VHHS varsity golf team. Eric has participated in a program that sends nutritional food to third world countries and a program that provides books to families of kids who cannot afford books. So again, congratulations to Eric, really exciting information. And that concludes the good news report. We just had on the agenda tonight, typically in June and July, our board meetings and committee meetings are on the same night. Unless the board has different feelings, we would continue to do that. But we always want to ask the question of whether the board might be interested in meeting in district office for the June or July meeting. There is some advantage to doing that because we can close this building down a little bit earlier in the afternoon, and district office is open. Stuart, I think you can video there okay.
Yes.
Depending on what we're doing there. We've got the dual screens there, so it's really up to you. It doesn't matter either way, but just wanted to bring that to your attention. So any thoughts on that? We can meet here, we can meet at district office in July, and in August we're back into our regular 2-meeting cycle a month.
Do we think we're going to get a big turnout or something?
No.
Okay, then.
Okay, so we will meet at the administrative office in July. I'll remind you, obviously, and then Denise will take care of the logistics on our board notifications, okay? All right, great. Just a couple of other things under other one. I did want to highlight that the District 128 Foundation had their first annual 5K walk run, and it was an amazing success. We're having about 6 weeks to plan that. Mary Todrick and one of our parent citizen volunteers, Antonio Simonian, just did an amazing amount of work along with a lot of other people, but they were really the point people in that. We ended up with over 280 people who participated in either walking and running in the race. And the goals for the race were, 1, to raise the presence and awareness of the foundation in the community. So we have lots of good feedback from the event. And secondly was to raise money for the foundation for one of their long-term projects, which is to continue to support additional technology for teachers in the district. So we want to thank everybody that was involved in that. And it was just a very exciting day and lots of people involved, and we look forward to running that event again. The other thing that's happened since the last time we met on June 1st, we had our second School Finance 101 meeting at the Village of Vernon Halls, and though our turnout was relatively small, we had great questions from a couple of the citizens there. Again, we think that the presentation moved into dialogue, and we learned something every time that we talked to the public, and I think it was a very successful evening again. We'll continue to plan these in the future to be as transparent as we can with finance. And yes, Alex, I don't know if you want to add anything.
I echo what you said. It's very engaging.
Yes?
We'd love to have more people attend.
Absolutely, and we'll always encourage people to do that, and we'll continue to do these at least twice a year, and whenever anybody wants us to do those, we'll make ourselves available to communicate the basics of school finance, the elements of our long-range financial plan, and how that all fits together with our district strategic plan. So thanks again to Yaz and Alex, did an excellent job once again at the presentation. And that concludes the superintendent's report. Dr. Gertie?
Okay, thank you very much. And I honestly, I don't recall if we recognized your milestone last month. So for those who are watching on TV, that may not have tuned in last month, even if we did, with all of the commencements and graduations at the end of the year. It had a nice ring tonight when I was able to introduce our own Dr. Lee. So after a lot of very hard work and a lot of study, you know, I think everybody should understand that Prentice holds himself to the same standards that he holds the entire district to. We talk a lot about continuous improvement, continuing to push further to do all the good things we do in the district, and our own Dr. Lee has done the same and was awarded his doctorate degree last month. So congratulations, and thanks for Okay, moving on to the consent vote agenda, which was reviewed earlier this evening in committee. Could I ask for a motion to approve the consent vote agenda as shown, please?
Approve the consent vote agenda.
Is there a second? Second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Arthur?
Aye.
Batson?
Aye.
Kelly Polly?
Aye.
Rudy?
Aye.
Lundstedt? Aye. Nauer?
Aye.
Ratzer?
Aye. Okay, motion carries. And then, as we've tended to do, we need to go back up one and ask for public comment. Is there anybody from the public who would like to speak? Okay. Hearing none, now we'll go back forward again. Program and Personnel Committee update, Chairperson Maurer.
We just have one item, and that's educational tour request. We'd like a motion to approve the educational tour request as listed.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Batson?
Aye.
Kelly Polly?
Aye.
Rudy?
Aye.
Lundstedt? Aye. Nauer?
Aye.
Ratzer?
Aye.
Arthur?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
And that concludes the program personnel committee.
Thank you very much. Facilities and Finance Committee, Chairperson Arthur.
There are several items from the Facility and Finance Committee. The first one up is the approval of the fiscal year working budget. I need a motion to...
I make a motion that we approve the fiscal year 12 working budget, keeping in mind that it is a working budget and it's just to give permission to continue to work in greater detail, and so that the district can continue to do payroll and spend money after July 1st.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Kelly Polly?
Aye.
Rudy?
Aye.
Lundstedt? Aye. Nauer?
Aye.
Ratzer?
Aye.
Arthur?
Aye.
Batson?
Aye.
Second item up is the resolution calling for a public hearing on the fiscal year 12 budget. Need a resolution for that. Motion.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Rudy.
Aye.
Lundstedt. Aye. Mauer.
Aye.
Ratzer.
Aye.
Arthur.
Aye.
Batson.
Aye.
Kelly Polly.
Aye.
Third item up is the establishing of a fund balance policy as required by the GASB 54. Any motion for that approval?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Roll call, please.
Lundstedt. Aye. Mauer.
Aye.
Ratzer.
Aye.
Arthur.
Aye.
Batson.
Aye.
Kelly Polly.
Aye.
Rudy.
Aye.
Fourth item up needing a motion is to have the prevailing wage resolution approved.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mauer.
Aye.
Ratzer.
Aye.
Arthur.
Aye.
Batson.
Aye.
Kelly Polly.
Aye.
Rudy.
Aye.
Lundstedt. Aye.
Motion carries.
And then the final item are the bid awards. We have 4 of them, one for Vernon Hills carpet tile, one for their bus lane, and then the 2 others are for Libertyville High School, boiler retubing, and precast concrete dugout. Need a motion?
So we want to
Should we do these separately? Yeah.
Okay, first
Okay.
up then, carpet tile.
I make a motion that the Board of Education accepts the base bid from Libertyville Tile and Carpet in the amount of $37,340 for the removal of existing carpet and replacement with carpet tile as per specifications.
Second.
Any discussion? Probably good to highlight that this was a good call on your part to go to the carpet tile, which saved us $10,000. Is that right?
Saved us time.
$10,446.
Okay. Not to
But
mention.
it will save us in the future because we'll only be replacing the tiles as we need them instead of the entire carpet.
Right. Okay, so great work. Okay, roll call, please.
Ratzer.
Aye.
Arthur.
Aye.
Batson.
Aye.
Kelly Polly.
Aye.
Rudy.
Aye.
Lundstedt. Aye. Mauer.
Aye.
Second under bid awards is the Vernon Hills bus lane.
Okay, I make a motion that we accept the base bid from Johnson Paving of Arlington Heights, Illinois to provide a concrete pavement bus lane at VHHS in the amount of $110,112.50, and that we reject the alternate bid to provide a bituminous pavement bus lane.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Arthur.
Aye.
Batson.
Aye.
Kelly Polly.
Aye.
Rudy.
Aye.
Lundstedt. Aye. Mauer.
Aye.
Ratzer.
Aye.
The third item up is the Vernon Hills boiler retubing with a low bid. What? Libertyville. Did I say Vernon Hill? Sorry about that. Libertyville boiler retubing with a low bid from Hayes Mechanical at $24,500. Motion?
Okay, I'll make a motion that the Board of Education accepts the bid from Hayes Mechanical of Chicago to replace 164 steam tubes and 3 steam valves at LHS in the amount of $24,563.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Batson.
Aye.
Kelly Polly.
Aye.
Rudy.
Aye.
Lundstedt. Aye. Mauer.
Aye.
Ratzer.
Aye.
Arthur.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
Number 4 then is also Libertyville High School precast concrete dugouts for the ladies softball. Need a motion?
Anybody else want it?
The Board of Education accepts the bid from Upcut Concrete of Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin to provide one 8x8 storage room and one 8x32 dugout with no storage room in the amount of $53,300, and I believe it was the only bid.
Yes, it was.
Discussion?
You have to also do the
So,
grant.
I need a second.
Second.
Discussion?
Yeah, that was my question. Do we need to include in there about the crane, or is that?
No,
It's all part of the bid.
No,
No.
the crane is separate. It's not biddable item.
Okay. Just part of the expense.
As long as the board was aware that we spending.
And then there's no other possible bidder, there's no other possible structure that would be less than $53,000 in payment.
The answer is yes, if I promise something a lot less money, what we'll do is.
Not to the same spec, though.
No, not, I'm sorry, yeah, not the same spec.
And Bill, just to put it in perspective for you, the dugouts that were put up in Vernon Hills were actually significantly more than that. It was a different construction. It was required to match some other stuff on the site, but that number is actually a pretty good number relative to some other things we've experienced.
But what we will do Wednesday, Mr. Tomaselli and I and Mr. Marty Richardson will construct a.
Styrofoam dugout for us to look at.
We will do that.
That'd be cool. It'll be a big cardboard box on the field.
We'll do that. So when I drive by, if I live here in town, I can see.
I'm just interested. I think we should be careful. $60,000 dugout or 60,000 pound dugout will be hard to eliminate once it's there. So,
so you can feel sure that we'll go forward. If this and I do. Okay, cool.
Any other discussion?
Roll call.
Noah.
Aye.
Rudy.
Aye.
Lundstedt. Aye. Mauer. Aye. Ratzer.
aye.
Arthur.
Aye.
Batson.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
Those were all the items that we needed to have approval. I just want to make note that this evening's discussion on the budget was a very good discussion. Will be continued at the July budget meeting, and look forward to that.
Great, thank you very much. No update from the property committee. As I said, we did not meet this month. How about special education for Lake County?
Special education met, and it was the last meeting for Superintendent Bill Dell. He's retired, and I believe Tom Mercantile.
The new superintendent will be coming July 1st.
Right. So we approved, first we amended the fiscal 10-11 budget to include the ERA funds that had not been included previously, for about $12 million, and also the flow-through fund, the funds that flow through the 35 districts that come from the Recovery.
Including us?
Including us. So they hadn't accounted for that in the original budget, so they amended it for $12 million to cover that, because I'm not quite sure when the money is coming. Now that is over with. So the amended budget also included increase in transportation fund and site construction fund to reflect increased expenses in those areas. So the amended budget was $96,306,000, but that's sort of what the approved budget was for this year. Which is going to go down as it has the last 3 years. The total budget that we approved is $17 million. So that's $10 million. If you didn't include the ERA funds, that would be $10 million less than last year. So I guess that's the best comparison. They have reduced their staff significantly over the last 3 years to coincide with decrease in enrollment and funds. And so in 2009-10, they had 45 fewer staff. 10-11, 80 fewer, and now this year 90 fewer. So they've really gotten down to the bare bones of what they can get by with to provide their students with good education. And those teachers then would be reflected at the highest salary level because they're the teachers that we have. So that is going to be interesting. I have they're varying, raising tuitions and varying levels of register for the students.
Okay, good report. Thank you very much. No update from the Illinois Association of School Boards. So if I could ask for a motion to convene executive session on the agenda today is employment of an employee.
So moved.
Is there a second? Roll call.
Arthur.
Aye.
Batson.
Aye.
Kelly Fowler. Rudy. Lundstedt. Mauer. Ratzer.
Aye.
Okay, and as I mentioned, we will not be taking any action following this meeting tonight. Thank you very much.